it occurred to me that I could not actually sit in my traditional wedding dress. And I also really couldn't dance in it, to be honest. It's a beautiful dress. I love this dress. I can't, like, the mobility in it is severely lacking.
I'm your host, Sarah Baus, and welcome to Attainable Podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome to a very, very special episode of Attainable Podcast. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sarah, and I get married in a week. It is a week out from the wedding, and so this episode, I'm going to be doing a tell-all, basically giving you the lowdown on the event before it happens, and also telling you guys a secret. Literally, I'm sitting here, I just decided that I was going to tell the podcast because I was like, it's something that I've kept from my TikTok, which is like where, if you follow me on TikTok, I'm very active there. And I'm also a pretty open book, but this is one thing that I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna keep it a secret. Also, it's something like my bridesmaids don't know. Well, some of my bridesmaids don't know. It's been a secret that seems to be passing around the family. But it's interesting if there's actually, I think, two bridesmaids that don't know. If the two listen to this before the wedding, I'm gonna get murdered. But anyway, yeah, welcome to this episode. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to record this, and I don't know, like, everybody's been texting me and like, how do you feel? Whatever. And honestly, I'm just kind of like just vibing. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to, we've got stuff to get done. I've got a little to-do list. If you've seen my TikToks, yes. All of that I'm doing, and then I also have other to-do things. But honestly, all of it's stuff that I realize that if it doesn't get done, which it will, but if it doesn't, like, I'm still gonna get married. Like, nothing's going to, crash and burn. So it's not a big deal. But today I wanted to give you guys a look-see into what we're going to be doing for the wedding, some untraditional things we're going to be doing for the wedding, traditions that we are just not doing. And I've talked about this in other podcasts before about like I expected people's opinions when I was going to plan a podcast, or gosh, plan a wedding. I expected, people's opinions. I don't expect people's assumptions. Like, constantly I get the, oh, like, I assume you're doing this, like, what do you, and then they'll have like a other question about it, and I'm like, we're not doing that. Like, I don't, and it's super awkward, but the whole process in itself, it's been totally fine. I had somebody text me like I don't know, it's like a meme, and it was like, I'm so excited for this wedding so that the wedding planning process can be over, which I felt was like very cynical. Like, I know they were being funny, but I was like, I don't like to take a cynical approach to things. I try not to if I can. I'm sure it's stressful, but honestly, I think it's something that I'm really gonna miss. Like, you gotta think, for a year now, this has been basically like one giant project. I'm gonna get back from the honeymoon and probably be bored as hell. Like, and that's not good for me. I starting projects like whenever I like can't relax. So I feel like this has been like almost something constant, so I don't go trying to like open another business or something. So we'll see what happens, but let's get into the episode. I have a list of things that that are non-traditional things that we're doing. I'll give you some details on the wedding itself and tell you my secret. So, all right, first of all, we're not playing a sweet, solemn song walking down the aisle. I feel like this, like, in my head, this isn't a big deal. But then when I tell people like what I'm walking down the aisle to, they're like, huh? But I didn't realize that it was so surprising not to walk down the aisle to Here Comes the Bride. Um, I just thought that was I didn't think people really did that anymore. But then, people, who think that's like normal, or, I tell them what I'm walking down the aisle to, and they're like, huh? So I'm walking down the aisle to Come to Me by the Goo Goo Dolls, which is, and it's not, I'm not doing like an instrumental version, like, I'm straight up doing like Come to Me by the Goo Goo Dolls. I don't think copyright will allow us to play the song or even a preview of the song, but go on Spotify after you listen to this podcast and go listen to the song because it is I love this song so much. And here's the thing. So, I'm also having my bridal party walk down the I didn't know that like the bridal party and the bride typically like walk down the aisle to different songs. Didn't know that. Did you? I didn't. So my bridal party will be also walking down to that. So when that starts, the first like part of my bridal party will be walking out. And as you listen, like I want you to think about it. There is I think it's called a bridge where all the music cuts off. And there's a line, today's the day I make you mine. So get me to the church on time. Take my hand in this empty room. You're my girl and I'm your groom. Literally, I can say it. If I listen to it, I bawl my eyes out. That is like, today's the day I make you mine is when I'm going to be at the top of the aisle. And then I'll like stand there for a second and then you're my girl and I'm your groom. And then I'll start walking to give you guys a visual. Honestly, go listen to it. Cry with me. I do have a videographer, so I will be getting this. I'm a little worried about the timing because it does have to be specific timing. But believe it or not, everybody on my TikTok thinks I don't have one. I do have a wedding coordinator. I don't have a wedding planner. I have a wedding coordinator. So I've been working with her for a month, sort of, little less than a month. We hired her beginning of September, and so she's been with us and she's in charge of getting the vendors together and kind of being the point person. So I or my mom does not have to be on that day, and she's the one in charge of like timing people. And I've been in weddings where we had to time very specifically, like when people walked out, and it turned out fine. So not too worried. Another thing, we're not tossing garters. I'm not even like, I'll toss the bouquet because I feel like it's a thing, but like my coordinator was creating the schedule and she like scheduled out like when to toss the bouquet. She even scheduled out like when to cut the cake. And I was like, I feel like these aren't like big deal things. I hated the idea of like we have dinner and then we toss the bouquet and then we cut the cake. And it was just these like little tiny events that people just kind of had to sit through. I was like, nah, like when we'll get on the dance floor and at some point on the dance floor, like in the middle of it, like the DJ will call like, hey, let's toss the bouquet or whatever. I'll chuck the thing and then like we keep dancing. Like it's not that big of a deal. And I'm not tossing a garter. I'm not even having a garter. That shit's weird. That shit's odd. That's weird behavior. I feel like that's so and if you are doing like, as always, guys, I don't have to do this disclaimer with you guys, but in case you're new or anything like that, look, if there's anything that I'm not doing for my wedding or an opinion of mine that you're doing at your wedding, that's great. Like that's awesome. Live your best, whatever makes you happy. I will only judge you properly if you're doing something that doesn't make you happy. So when I say garter toss is weird, it's weird for me. It doesn't have to be weird for you. But anyway, with that aside, yeah, that I could not. I feel like I do not want that doing that in front of my parents, and no, just none of that. Not doing garter toss. I don't really know a lot of people who do that anymore. Anyway, another thing. This is one that kind of got out of hand. I have a lot of honors. So I have a man of honor, first of all, and then Joseph has two groomsmen, and then I also have a maid of honor and a matron of honor. If you did not know, if your quote maid of honor is married, it's technically a matron of honor. That's not a separate title. It's just like a different thing to call the maid of honor, depending on her marital status. However, I took it as a separate position because I had my man of honor and then Emily, who is my matron of honor because she's married, and then Lael, who is my maid of honor, who is not married. And I just kind of like, I was like, you know what? I didn't want to choose. And the theme of all of this, and honestly, I think everybody should take this approach, is do whatever the hell you want. Like it's your wedding. There's no like right or wrong. It really does not matter. Like you're probably, no matter what you like budget, you're probably going to be spending quite a bit of money on the wedding, no matter what size. Like weddings are just expensive. And so you might as well do what you want. You know what I mean? This is like it's not a traditional we're doing away with, but I think it's something that's really cool that we're doing. We are having a wedding scent. Um, I'm a pretty low key bride. Like I'm a pretty like chill, not, like high maintenance. I did not want to be a bridezilla. And so, but this is like my one thing that's like my extra thing. We do have a wedding scent. We are going to be scenting it with, okay, if you go to Disney, if you've never been to Disney, then I'll explain it to you. But if you go to Disney there and you're in Epcot, there is a ride called Soarin'. It is a very fun ride. And this, like, these seats, and then there's a giant screen, and it looks like you're flying over different big, major parts of the world. You fly over the Eiffel Tower, you fly over like deserts in Africa or something. Like very not a desert in Africa, like a big like safari plane. Why can't I think of what that would be called? Anyway, with elephants. And at one point you fly over Florida and California. And it's orange groves in California. And oh my gosh, and when you're flying over these things, they pump scents. Like so when you're flying over the like Africa, it smells like dirt, but it's nice, it's refreshing. And then you fly over the Taj Mahal and it's like a very jasmine scent. So orange grove smells like an orange grove. And I wanted to scent my wedding as like oranges, but I did not want like a creamsicle orange. I didn't want a sweet orange. I didn't want like a sickly like fake orange. I really wanted it to smell like an orange grove. So I went and it was a little bit complicated, like trying to figure out how we were going to do this, because everybody's like, oh, use a diffuser. Yeah, my wedding's outside. All of it's outside. Every piece of it is outside. I don't have the rain plan. I gave that to Sean. If you listen to if I did I do it in a podcast, or I know I did in a TikTok? I've got my caterer's name is Sean. He's handling the rentals as well. He's a very reliable guy. I said, Sean, you got it? He said, got it. I said, good. I'm not dealing with it. My whole wedding is outside. So it's not like I could pump scents in or do plugins or anything like that. Like I really had to get creative. And then me and my aunt came up with like using an essential oil. So I found an essential oil that is the scent of Soarin', and it smells so good, guys. Like I can't even express. So we're going to like dab the oil on the greenery and on the dried oranges that we will be putting on the tables. And I'll probably like spray the linens with like a mix of that and water, because you don't want to stain the linens, of course. And yeah, I'm super excited. I think that's going to be such a vibe, like such a vibe. That's like one thing that I wanted to do. I also saw like I almost want to make a video on some unique things that you could do at your wedding that are actually unique. I hate looking up unique things to do at your wedding, and it's like have a like phone photo like guest book. It's the unique things like aren't unique anymore. Like everybody has After the Tone. I actually am not doing After the Tone, not because I didn't want it, because I didn't get it in time. In case you didn't know, they book up fast, and there is a limit. So when I went to book it, they were booked out through October into November. So instead, our guest book is we have this coffee table book that we got from the Met in New York City, and it's beautiful. We adore this book, and it's got like photos of the pieces of art in the Met. And so we're actually having people sign that. I didn't want just some book with a bunch of signatures. Like it was kind of dumb, but the like coffee table art book, like it's a book we already love. People can look through and like sign a piece of art that they love or something like that. And it felt like a very cute way, and kind of making our own art in the book and that kind of thing. So we're doing that. And then also we'll have a QR code that goes to a website that I found where you can record a little video message for us. So similar to After the Tone, where you can record a message, but this is actually video, which I love. I love video. And so I hope that a lot of people do that. It's a very easy process, actually. I'll link the website in the bio or in the show notes, because it's actually like so simple and it's incredibly cheap. I think you do it for free, but then I think there was like a limit to how many videos, or I didn't really look into it. I wasn't really like paying attention. I just kind of bought the subscription, or it's not a subscription, it's a one-time fee. And it was like $27. And I was like, yeah, $27 for like after the tone is literally like either almost $200 or over $200. It's crazy. So saved a lot of money there. I don't know how we got unique things. Yeah. Like I feel like things aren't unique, but another unique thing that I think people can do that I've seen, or I've seen ads for, but I have not seen people do it, is actually creating your own beer. And my friends did this at their wedding, but it's because that they got married at a brewery. So the brewery had this thing where you could like make your own beer, but it was like a mix. And I don't know if it had like packaging. I never saw it. Um, I don't know if it, like, had packaging where it actually said, like, Emily and David or not or anything, I can't remember, but there's a, like, website that I got fed on freaking, Instagram ads or whatever, and you could, like, design your packaging and you pick the flavor and, like, get your own beer for the wedding. I thought that was so cute. I'm not a beer fan. I also saw that, like, a week ago, so obviously we're not gonna do that, but I thought that was adorable. I like, doing things that are a little bit different, and honestly, I don't need this wedding to be perfect, but if anybody knows me, I love a good aesthetic. I love a vibe. Like, the vibes are they have to be immaculate. My biggest fear is that something's gonna be, like, chuggy or, like, awkward or something, and it's not even a fear, like, it is what it is, shit happens, but I'm like, "This should just be like, fun." Like, when else do I get to host a party with everybody I love all in one room? Are you kidding? This is the best thing ever, and for attention whores out there like me, literally, it's a party about you. Like, I'm so excited. Also, I am taking off of work. People have been well, sort of. I have completely off Friday, and then Wednesday and Thursday, I am taking kind of light days. So I will have a little bit more time this week. But you gotta imagine, I'm gonna be gone for like 2.5 weeks. So there's a lot to get done for work. And we are going to Thailand for anybody. Um, I think I said that on a podcast. We're going to Thailand. I'm so excited. I am a little wildly unprepared for that. And I just texted my travel agent this morning, like, hey, what else do we need to do? Because like you know what's not been on my mind? That you forget that you have to prepare for the honeymoon when you're doing the whole wedding planning. Anyway, how about the secret? How about I tell you guys what I did? Because it's not that big of a deal, but people are like, excuse me? So again, sorry to reference TikTok so much, but if you follow me on TikTok, like that's where I keep I keep people updated. This is where I can really lay it all out. And like the podcast, I tell you guys everything. TikTok, much bigger audience. And I share like often because like I'm on there like every day, but this is where I can give my deep darkest secrets like this. So if you recall and you watch my TikTok, I cannot sit in my wedding dress. And so I was having this issue. I knew I wanted to change into a short dress at some point in the night so that I could dance and like have more fun, not leave in like a wedding dress. But it occurred to me that I could not actually sit in my traditional wedding dress. And I also really couldn't dance in it, to be honest. Like this it's a beautiful dress. I love this dress. I can't like the mobility in it is severely lacking, which you think isn't a big deal, but honestly, that's something I wish I would have paid more attention to. You really underestimate the importance of mobility in your wedding dress. So I went to, do you know where this is going? I went to a consignment shop because I was looking for a reception dress. I was looking for like my short dress, and then I was possibly looking for like a dinner dress that I could change into quickly to like be able to sit and eat dinner. Now I realized that that is 3 dresses. I didn't want to do that, but I was just looking at options, whatever. So I put on this dress and it had sleeves that were really tight, but the like fabric of it and the fit on my body, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really love this. And it was a longer dress. I was trying that on for the dinner. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I left, didn't get anything, but I got in the car and even I immediately like started panicking because I was like, oh oh no. I loved how that dress fit. And when I like want to figure something out, I want to figure it out right now. And it becomes like a hardcore obsession. Bad, 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 bad. And I will like spiral over these things. So uh I Instagram messaged the consignment shop and I was like, "Hey, I was just in there today. Do you have any dresses like with that same fabric and that same like silhouette with no sleeves?" And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, great. I'm gonna go there in the morning." Now, granted, we had to leave for a USC game going to Columbia um that morning. And so I was like, "Joseph, do you mind if we stop by this store? You have to stay outside. Do you mind, like literally on our way out of town, do you mind stopping by the store?" She was like, "Sure." So, I'm dressed for the game, like, I'm ready, we are leaving town, and we stop in the store, I walk in, um, they pulled some dresses, I tried dresses on, I put one dress on, I was like, "Done," and literally, I think 20 minutes later, I walked out of the store with the dress, and I was like, "Look, either I'm going to switch my wedding dress or at least I'll have a dinner dress." I got in the car, I was like and by the time we got to Columbia, I knew I was switching my dress. Here's the funny part. My dress, my original dress is like $2,500. Wedding dresses are ass expensive, guys. Like, holy shit. Now, 100% worth it. This dress is gorgeous. PS, shit, if you want a wedding dress, I'm going to be selling it. And this is a gorgeous dress. It's no longer made anymore. I got the last one in the store. Stunning. Um, if you don't want to sit. But figure that out, then you're good because it is a gorgeous dress. And the one I got at the consignment shop, literally, I got this at a consignment shop, $300. Like, I was like, "Here's my credit card. I'm taking it home." Now I'm sure you're wondering, like, how did my mother react? Mom was the one who bought the dress. Love her. The original one. And so I went over and I tried it on. I didn't say anything. I tried on the dress, um, because I was like, "Oh, like I found this dress possibly for dinner, whatever. I want you to see it." And I tried it on and it came out and she was like, "Oh my God, that's stunning. Like, why don't you just wear that down the aisle?" I was like, "I'm so glad that you said that." So here's the thing. And it was like a mutual decision. Thankfully, mom is very like up for whatever. She's super chill. She eloped. So I think like she eloped, I think a lot because the stress of like planning a wedding was like dumb. She didn't want to deal with that. So she doesn't want that kind of stress on me. It's a little late now, like for me to be making other decisions, but she's been very cool. She's been very chill and she was like all for it. And guys, like I adore this dress. And so this is gonna be a lot more fun for you guys to see. By the way, I am a content girly. You better believe I have a photographer, I have a videographer, and I have a content girl. So, my old neighbor, Jillian, I mean, I used to babysit her. So she's going to be coming around. She's going to have my phone partially so I don't have my phone. And also, yes, we will be making TikToks. Yes, she will be in charge of kind of documenting on like Instagram stories, and also taking phone footage. And honestly, this is something that's becoming like more popular. And I know some people find it to be superficial, but even if you just have somebody in charge of like taking videos of photos on your phone so that like you on the plane to your honeymoon, like you can watch back and like you can have these immediate ones and they're also candid, like they're on a phone. It's just more raw, you know what I mean? And like capturing these raw moments that the videographer and the photographer might not because they're getting like much more I'd say like posed or um like like fancy photos, I guess you could say. Like you get to have these immediately. I think that's a really good idea. And then I love TikTok. Like yeah, I think it's going to be so fun to make TikToks and do transitions and so yes, you will be I guess it will be documented and you will be informed on the day of walking through everything. I think that That'll be hopefully really fun for you guys to watch, especially on Instagram stories and everything. Maybe TikTok stories. I'm not like the biggest fan of TikTok stories, but they do have a use for when I want to post something and it's not really something I want to put on my main feed. So that's everything. That's everything that I wanted to go over. I would love, honestly, like if you guys have questions, I'll probably do a full wedding breakdown, things that I hopefully I won't have regrets, but just a breakdown of everything that happened, go through the story after we get back from the honeymoon. And also tell you about the honeymoon, all that kind of stuff. But if you have questions, please leave them on our Instagram at Attainable Podcast. Again, we've been super active there, so it's been very, very fun. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I can go through like the details and all that kind of stuff. If you want me to go through the schedule or anything that we did that I would recommend, like I can give you the full details, but that just kind of give you a rundown of the day. We've got, as of today, including today, it's 6 days. Oh god, that's crazy. Literally crazy. And honestly, I'm probably not going to be like really thinking about it until Wednesday, maybe like Wednesday night, because Monday and Tuesday and like half of Wednesday, I am going to be full on prep for honeymoon, like leaving work kind of thing, in my out of office. But anyway, I hope that this was super exciting. I hope that you're excited. I want to take you guys along with me as much as I can. So stay tuned on all my socials. If you do not follow me on TikTok and Instagram, I highly suggest you do now. Because I'll be reporting all week and then especially the day of. So yeah. I love you guys so, so much. And and just a reminder, we will stay, podcasts will keep going up. We are pre-recording, so we will have podcasts and stuff going up while I'm gone. So don't you worry about that. None of that will be disrupted, which is great. But anyway, yes, have a fabulous week. Have a wonderful day. I hope you're well wherever you are, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.